Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the ZarCast. I'm your host, DV8, and with me, as always, and by always I mean twice, are my quintessential co-hosts, D22 and Positive Q. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. I'm happy to be here. Episode 2 of the ZarCast.
Yes, sir. So last week we said we would leave it up to the listeners to determine if we were going to keep this show going. And after some 317 positive reviews came pouring in. No, that's a lie. It was more like 6, and one was D's wife, but hey, 0 negative reviews. So PQ, you're our math guy. Check my math on this, but I think that's pretty close to 100% positive, right?
That is exactly 100% positive. Thanks to D22's wife. She put it over the top.
Yes, she did.
I'll let her know.
Yeah. All right. And so before we get rolling on this very big episode 2, a few takeaways from episode 1. So first, Positive Q. So much critical information for the investors or just like stat junkies. What an incredible service you're providing here. And if I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw your top recommendation sold right around the time we put out the link to the first episode. Is that correct?
That is correct. I was happy to hear it. I enjoy trying to bring value to the community and do it in something that I enjoy talking about. It's fun for me, but I'm happy that it brings value to the community. But all 3 of the recommendations from last week have sold. They have sold. I think 2 of them were actually above the price I recommended them at, and that was thanks to Shy Guy, who cleared out the last one this morning. So all 3 of the recommendations for last week have been sold and are in a new home and a happy Quokka environment.
That is awesome. There we go. Hate seeing them sitting out there for too long, especially when they have the kind of value that you promoted there. So awesome job by you. And D, just your voice, man. Your voice is just beautiful to listen to. The tone, and coupled with like the passion that you have for this community, it just has me smiling like as soon as you start talking. So and in my opinion, you did not get a chance to do enough of that last week, so we shall remedy that today for sure.
I love it, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this first episode, again, my first time doing a podcast. When I was looking back and listening to us, it's just so freaking fun to build this community together. That's something special about Web3 in general, especially with NFTs. We own the properties of the Quokkas we've bought, and we get to talk about all these things that we're passionate about, and hopefully make some money while we do it as well, right? So yeah, I'm just so excited to keep growing this thing. And by the way, shout out to Shy Guy that he just before we got online today, he swept one of the Quokkas and won 3 free WZKDs, sponsored by Craig Mack. So yeah, awesome. Congratulations, Shy Guy. And by the way, yeah, he picked out one of the most favorable on the floor, which again, yeah, Positive Q had suggested on our first episode.
Big thanks to Craig for that promotion with the Whiz Kids. That was an awesome thing to do.
Yeah, and that's something that just, I'm not an investor, right? I'm a community guy. I'm into the community and the art of Tribe Quokka. So I don't own any other NFTs, but I love the fact that we couple with these other projects, and they do such a good job of like vetting those other projects and make sure that before Tribe Quokka puts their stamp of approval on anything, they know that we're dealing with good people and really solid projects with roadmaps that you can count on. So it's really cool to have, the Bad Bears and the Whiz Kids and those guys. It's not something I personally get into, but I think it's awesome that you can trust those groups. All right, and finally, my last observation of episode 1 was I used the word massive 3 times in about 5 minutes. And that that is at least 1.5 too many massives in that time span. So I'm going to be mindful of my adjectives here today. So yeah.
Dante, you're doing a great job, by the way. Very impressive. Seriously.
Thanks, yeah, it's just, like you guys both said. I'm just going to echo. It's just a lot of fun, meeting other people and getting to just talk about stuff that we enjoy. It's just good fun. So, in the short history of Tribe Quokka, we're about 4 months in. There've been some key dates, right? We had the pre-mint for the whitelist at the end of March. Then we had the public sale on what we call April Fool's Day on April 1st, where we sold out in about 45 minutes, which was incredible. And then a lot of other cool stuff has happened along the way, but nothing compares to those first 2 events like what we just experienced in, the week that was, is how I think of it, starting with the Legends raffle, then on to NYC, and then finally the Legends auction. So what an exciting time to be a member of Tribe Quokka, huh?
It absolutely was. It was crazy. There was almost too much going on at the same time. I'm trying to keep up with Discord. I'm trying to keep up with the Zar. I'm trying to keep up with, seeing what the guys are doing in New York, because unfortunately I couldn't make it. It was an insane week to watch, but a lot of fun to see everybody together celebrating, to see pictures of D22 and Biz hanging out together, grabbing a drink. It was really great. And you have to thank the founders for putting that together, because a lot of projects may have just said, you know what, we're doing well, we're moving along. But this one doesn't. This one says, okay, let's not only do well, let's not only raise floor price, let's not only take care of our investors, but take care of our community. I can't imagine what the bar bill was. I don't want to know, but I think all we can do is thank them for that.
It is great. They do. They take care of everything. You once you show up at a Tribe Quokka event, that's it. You're in, and it's just party time as soon as you enter. So yeah, it's really awesome. Well, speaking of the events in New York City, our guy D22 has his finger on the pulse of this community better than anyone. And he made the trip to NYC to hang with everyone. And he has some thoughts that he wants to share. So D22, we turn it over to you, buddy.
Absolutely, man. And first of all, thank you to the Zar that sponsored my trip to NYC. Great guys over there at the Quokka Zar. And oh my gosh, NYC was just epic. And I will say this about Tribe Quokka and about myself. So I'm a type of guy, I like working hard. I like to do things with excellence, but I also like to play hard. I like to eat good. I like to have some drinks and have some fun with good company. And that's exactly what Tribe Quokka does. And they do it well. We do it well, right? But our founders, I mean, these guys, they know what they're doing. This is not their first rodeo. And I don't know, Positive Q or Dante, did either of you guys make it to Mint Day?
Yes, I was at the Mint Day event.
Yeah,
okay,
same
awesome.
here.
Yeah. So picture Mint Day, right? Because Mint Day was epic as well. We're all talking about New York, and we really haven't had a chance to expand on how amazing Mint Day was, where Miles Technology, they opened their doors to everyone that wanted to be part of Tribe Quokka. And these are their offices, right? IT company, 30 years in business. And oh my gosh, they had basketball courts, ping pong tables, and they had a whole freaking office with Legos, like just a freaking awesome, cool space, right? And they opened their doors and had open bar. We all had free drinks, free food, sushi. I mean, all you can eat. They had live music. And that was just for Mint Day. I wanted to mention that. And then now I want to take you to NYC, where, they get this rooftop in Manhattan, in the heart of Manhattan. And let me tell you, man, I got there a little early. I was a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, I don't know half of these people. I just know them through Discord. And you get excited, you get nervous. And so I stop at the bar next door, and I had a drink, and I was like $30 for one drink. I'm like, it's freaking expensive out there. But thank God I am a Tribe Quokka owner, right? So I got to go in for free to the rooftop venue. And oh my gosh, I mean, our founders really went all in this time around. I'm talking top shelf everything for the drinks, and then the food, fantastic food. They had sushi, they had egg rolls, but the egg rolls were stuffed with lobster. I mean, the best of the best, man. And listen, and the food and the drinks were great, but the most exciting thing for me was just getting to meet all these different people that I've been talking to through Discord. And it almost felt like, man, we should have name tags with our handle, right? Because we really don't know our real names. But yeah, a couple of highlights. I met this one employee from Barstool, and he was there having a great time. And he was like, yeah, if you want to place a big bet sometime, we can go play golf. And, that was pretty cool. Then I met this other guy, a correction officer. He flew into New York. I don't remember if it was from Florida or Illinois, but he came into New York for the event, a Quokka holder. And the dude was just having fun. He showed me his Quokkas. He had a diamond fur Quokka. I was like, dude, you're sitting on gold there, my brother. Shout out to Silent Mario. I've talked to him on Discord. He's one of the Miles Technologies employees, actually. But yeah, it was great to meet him. There was an employee from Coinbase, man, that works inside, one of the big dogs from Coinbase. Only 6 of Coinbase's employees do what he does inside the company. So, I mean, just a lot of interesting people. PQ and Dante, you guys saw the picture with me and Bizzle. Bizzle's like he's a rock star, man. He's famous. So it was awesome I almost asked for his autograph, you know what I mean? Oh, also shout out to Ranger, man, our Quokka #1 in rarity. He's the holder, and he flew in from Florida, man, and he was there rocking it too and having a good time. It was really, really good to also just have laughs and drinks with the founders, man. They were having a blast. I mean, I had so many good conversations with Chris Miles, with Chef X. You had Butombo just, singing on the mic. And you can see like it was just genuine good times, and that's what's cool about our tribe. It's like, yeah, we're here to invest, and yeah, we're here, excited about what this project is going to do. But like at the end of the day, we're like family, and we're just having fun in real life and online.
Yeah, they said right from the start that the events that they put on are going to put all the other events to shame. And I'm 2 for 2 as far as that goes with the 2 that I attended. And obviously New York City sounds like it was the same too. But Brian said last week, he knows a lot of these guys personally. And so they genuinely do enjoy just hanging out with each other. And then they make you feel, each and every one of them makes you feel like you're part of it too now. So, what do you say, Positive Q?
Oh, without a doubt. A lot of these guys have known forever. We've been to quite a few parties, and it's always a good time. So you get these guys who love the party, love to hang out, genuinely good people, like being around other people, like talking to people, and then put them in this Quokka mix where everybody's just hyped and excited. It's a recipe for fun, without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. So D, was there like one special moment that you had other than nervously buying a drink at another bar? Was there like another moment where you were like, man, this is unreal?
Dude, absolutely. So honestly, I own a small company, right? And my employees all bought into Tribe Quokka. And a couple hours into the night, we're up there on the rooftop, just enjoying ourselves, laughing our heads off. And meeting all these, new friends that we only had talked online. And it was like, man, I started to understand a little bit deeper, like the meaning of utility and what this movement of NFTs is. Because, on the surface, you think you're just buying a JPEG picture. And I mean, maybe it's for the art. Maybe it's just, a shot in the dark and you're hoping it goes up in price. But man, I realized like, dude, I'm here with my best friends, my coworkers, and I got in here for free, and I'm drinking and eating for free and having an amazing time. And it's all because I decided to buy this NFT, which by the way, I meant it at one price and now it's worth more. and look at everything extra I'm getting. And it was just a realization, like, man, this is a movement that it's just getting started. That word utility and just the added value that solid founders and people that really are invested into the community will bring by you participating in their project. That's where it's at, man. When you can grasp that, you can grasp what NFTs really brings to the table.
Yeah, well said, buddy. All right, so positive Q. Now we're at the part where a lot of people are looking forward to hearing this week's OpenSea report, and then also you have something new to educate us on. So what are we learning about today?
Today there is a ton to unpack. So we're going to go through our regular OpenSea report in 1 second, but then I am going to give the very first PQ report and try my best to value the Legends collection, which has been a topic of great interest among the community, where we think we're going to put value with these. I know I've gotten asked a lot of questions about it. So PQ has put in his homework this week and hopefully bringing the best numbers I can to you. So let's start with our PQ OpenSea report. So last week in total ETH volume, we saw 23.3 ETH traded in volume. Now that is about 40% less than the week before, where we saw a major week with 57. You would figure normalized is somewhere in the middle. But I think a lot of that has to do with, you have to look at the volume of ETH that was dedicated to the Legends this week as well. There was a lot of people holding. Everybody's trying to hold on everything they can to get those bids in there. So it wasn't surprising that we saw a dip in the volume for the week. But I think one of the best parts is our average floor price held. So average price of a Tribe Quokka NFT over the past 7 days is 0.806 ETH. So that is a huge number. That is the longest we have ever held. This is now 2 weeks we've been holding above 0.8. And I think it's a major credit to the community, to outside people coming in. We're starting to see a lot of movement, but it's not even just floor models that are moving anymore. You're starting to see the higher priced ones go. I think it's going to be really exciting to watch. But from the investor standpoint, okay, in 4 months now, you can legitimately say that you have gone 12 times on your money from mint. I don't know any other investment in the world that's doing that, with crypto down, with the stock market down, with the NASDAQ. You know, it's incredible. I actually think Tribe Quokka might be the best investment on the street right now. So everybody keep that in mind.
That's unreal.
So,
I mean, yeah, this is incredible number.
So I do want to get into the Legends, but I cannot let a PQ OpenSea report pass without my floor grab of the week. All my floor grabs last week got taken up. I'm happy that people are listening. I think it's great. I'm happy that people like the selections and want them as part of their collection. That's a really cool thing personally for me, and it makes me happy, with the podcast as well. But so my selection this week is not only an amazing Quokka with traits that are holding value that I see people are asking about, people are talking about. You know, we're in the Zar all day long, and I see what people are looking at, what people think and they don't think. But this one has also got our 4th of July flair. So sitting on the floor right now at 0.95 ETH is number 7326. So this guy here is a pink fur Quokka. So you're not looking at brown, you're not looking at gray. You got a more rare fur kind of in the middle. But what really brings this together is he's got the XX eyes, which I saw a conversation between Dr. Dick and Boba Fett one time that Dick didn't even want to include the XX eyes, and Boba Fett insisted on putting them in. He thought they were one of the coolest traits out there. I gotta go with Boba Fett on this argument. So I see people talking about him all day long, that they love that trait, and I gotta agree with them. But we got to bring in the 4th of July flares. So this young man here has the Uncle Sam hat on, the stovepipe hat, with the stars and stripes on it. So for this week's floor special, we are going with number 7326, the Quokka of our week, the Pinky Uncle Sam, as we'll call him.
All right.
So that's what we're going to go with this week for our floor pick.
That's a great recommendation. And I think I think the pink fur, which, you know, you don't really hear too many people talk about, is going to be really, really cool on the Joeys, right? When you get, especially if you get one that sort of looks like a female one and it's pink, that's going to be really a cool looking fur on the Joey, I think.
Absolutely agree. But we do have to, at this point, use the proper name, which is now the Quokka Kids. They have been changed.
Yep.
All right. So here's the point where PQ had to do his homework. All right. There is a ton to unpack with this Legends collection. So I tried to go through and I tried to value something that went to auction. And, you know, your first instinct would be, okay, whatever something was at auction, everybody had a chance to bid on it. So whatever it went for would be the value. But that was a thought that came in and went out of my head within seconds, because it's not what it is. Mints are never what they are. Like, you always make more from mint. We definitely have in Tribe Quokka. So I looked up and down this auction. I've looked at it multiple times. I looked at the bids going on. I know there was a few bugs, which I tried to factor into some analysis. And I looked at really the value of these NFTs. The artwork from Boba Fett and his team was incredible. You know, the celebrities that were mimicked in there are incredible. And I think they really made some good selections where there wasn't any that I couldn't say, okay, I know who that is. I didn't, you know, a lot of people, you would think that there's somebody you couldn't recognize just because you don't know enough about pop culture. I'm a 50-year-old man and I recognized every single buddy on that list. So, you know, credit to Boba Fett and his team. So if you look down the auction and you average it out, everything at the auction went for about 1/8. So if you averaged out average price, but that is still nowhere close to where we're at on the floor. So I started looking at the floor price of the Legends right now. We're seeing them sitting at 0.6, or I'm sorry, 6.0. And so that's a number. Okay, that's the floor. That's what they're being set at, but I haven't seen any move. So I'm here to give my honest opinion. And if I'm not seeing a move of 0.6, then I can't say that's the value. So we're now narrowing in on this number. So I ran a little experiment last night. And I actually put both. I was lucky enough to mint 2 Legends. So I got what I'll call Quokka John, which looks a lot like Elton John. And I got the, I guess, Quokka Bambino, the black and white of Babe Ruth.
The legends, yes.
It like, you wanted to see a happy man. I thought I missed the entire auction. I was traveling and I came back home, and a bid that I made like 5 days before won on the Quokka Bambino, and I couldn't have been more thrilled. So I actually put both of them on the Zar last night and said, okay, let's start entertaining offers. And I was going back and forth, a couple people back and forth, getting offers, and that let me know the price. Talked to a couple good friends of mine, and I have narrowed all of this down. And obviously, one-on-one art is subjective, but I'm trying to make a middle of the road for everybody. And here it is, little drum roll. The PQ evaluation floor price of the Legends collection right now is at 4.0 ETH. That's where I'm putting them all right now. I think that's the starting point. And I think for something that, you know, you paid anywhere from 0.7 to 1.25 over the weekend, that you've now tripled your money in 3 days. Can't argue there. So that is the PQ evaluation of what is an excellent collection. All credit to Boba Fett and his team and the founders for putting that together.
I like it, man. PQ, I'd say I think that's a fair price. I am curious to see you know, what the first one gets sold for. But you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? And we can tell by how the bids went. There were certain Legends that people bid a little stronger on than others. And so, yeah, I can see, you know, someone really likes one specific Legend, and they're going to be willing to pay a decent penny for it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the art is incredible on those, and each one kind of gives you a different reaction when you look at them. Like, you know, you see some and you're just like, you know, you're smiling or you're laughing out loud at some of them, and then there's others where you're just like, oh wow, you know, like the Babe Ruth one. To me, you look at that one and, you know, the way that it's in that the almost like the old time color, like an old baseball card, and you're just like, wow, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's really one of the really, really cool things about this Legend series is the way they impact you. All right. So PQ, anything else?
No, that is the PQ report. That was all the work I could put in for the week. That one took a great time. So it was fun to do, though. It was fun to look over it all. I had a great time doing it. It gave me a chance to really study all of the pieces within that collection and try and assign a value. And it was fun to do. I think that, right now we're looking at 4, but I'd love to see that market move higher, because I definitely think this 1-for-1 art is going to be a quantity to have within the NFT community.
Yeah, and I mean, when you think about it, PQ and Dante, just the fact that now we know for a fact that you can mint, a legend with a Genesis, and then you're gonna get another 1/1 Quokka Kid. Not only that, you can choose the fur you wanna pair it with. I mean, that adds a lot of value to it. So, and another side note to me, for example, at first I wasn't super excited about the legends. I'll be honest. I was more, just all in Tribe Quokka Genesis. But now that we launched, and I was lucky enough to mint 2 as well. But now looking at the social and how people are reacting and just how awesome it is, when you see everyone commenting, and I'm like, wow, okay, this in a marketing sense for Tribe Quokka, these legends are really gonna be valuable, just in the marketing sense as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. The community aspect of it, the PFPs changed instantly, right? Like it was
exactly.
Yeah, you go on the Zar now, and it's just pictures you're used to seeing. They're all different. Well, PQ, awesome job as always, my man. I mean, that was some serious work you put in. And on behalf of the whole Zar community, I want to just thank you for always doing that research for us. It's awesome.
You are welcome. Like I said, I had fun doing it.
All right, so I think we're about ready for our special guest. But before we bring on today's guest, we all want to extend a big thank you to last week's guest, Ghost of Tsushima. He did such a good job. In fact, my daughter, when she listened to it, she said he was her favorite character. So I don't know. I'm still processing how I feel about that. But he's a class act all the way. And I'm sure you guys will agree that we'd love to have him come back on at some point. So thank you, Ghost.
Yes, thank you. Ghost is the best.
So Ghost of Tsushima is the man. You've seen how this dude, whenever we're trying to find the owner of a Quokka, he'll put attention please, and he'll just shoot it through Twitter and find the Quokka owner, and just helping the community all the time, man. He's awesome.
You could tell he gets it. All right, so are we all set?
We are.
This is big, folks.
Oh, we have a guest today, Dante.
We do. We have the guest of guests. I would have to say, please give a big Zar welcome to Dr. Dick Doofus, everybody.
What up, fellas? How are you guys doing this morning?
Very good. And there's that laugh. There's that signature laugh that we've all come to know over the last few months.
That's
too funny, man.
Yep. All right. So, Doc, in addition to your career, your love and dedication to your family, I know that you're being pulled in many different directions all day long with Tribe Quokka. So, what made you want to carve out some time to come talk to us today?
That was an easy decision. Excuse me. I'm still my voice is still very hoarse from last week and all the talking that I've been doing. I'm actually sipping on a cup of tea right now, just trying to get it back. But what made me decide to do this, huh? Great question. I think, well, I've been in crypto for quite a while. I've been paying attention since like 2010. I've been watching the ebbs and flows, and I started investing right after the pop off top in 2017, and was doing really good in 2019, 2020, 2021. And it was a lot of fun. I was making good money, but it was always just some, numbers on a spreadsheet. You know what I mean? It was never really exciting anything other than the fact that, you were making a return on your investment, which is awesome. But I was always looking for something a little bit more. And I feel like every decision I ever made out of college was based off of how much money I was going to make, which, I was successful, but I was never really passionate about anything I was ever doing. You know what I mean? Like, I never woke up in the morning thinking, yo, this is awesome. I can't believe I get to do this as my job. And when I left AT&T, I was a consultant for a number of years. I started a home care business for that same reason. Like, I just love being around my grandparents and helping them out around the house and making them feel special. It really helped me feel like I was doing something important, and I could go to bed at night feeling like I made a difference in someone's life. So I started my home care business because of those very reasons, just finding something that I was passionate about. And I started having conversations with Brian Bouchard, Butumbo, I guess, last summer. And one of the things I talked to him about, I said, yeah, I mean, crypto's awesome. A lot of great opportunities, digital economy, yada, yada. You can absolutely make money in this space. You're early. And one of the other things that really interests me right now is NFTs, not so much an investor being a flipper in the space, but being a content creator, right? Being able to tell a story or, design awesome artwork and build communities. It was just this whole new space that allowed you to do all of these really exciting things. And I just said it to him kind of in passing, right? I wasn't really at that point thinking that this was something that I wanted to do. And I guess it was in like October, he called me up. He goes, yo, remember when you were talking about NFTs and being a content creator? I have this artist. I asked Chris Miles if he wants to come over. Why don't you come over to the man room? He has like this bar, this garage he turned into a bar outside of his house. Why don't you come over and we'll just, kind of just spitball some ideas. So I came over. We started talking about it. We threw out some ideas. None of them really stuck at that point. It was just like, all right, yeah, that's kind of cool, but I don't know if it has any legs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I guess it was a couple of days later, a week later, I had learned that Bored Apes had signed with Yuga Lab. Yuga Labs had signed with a talent agent, and they planned on getting into animated cartoon series and full-length feature movies. And and you guys have probably heard this story a million times. That's kind of when the light bulb went off for me, and thinking this whole, what does every great cartoon character have in common? They have a nemesis, and that was like, that's when I started thinking, all right, well, that's something that we could potentially do that is completely unique in the space. I started doing some research and digging and trying to figure out if anybody else had gone down that route and, what the potential was. And the fact that NFTs, when you buy them, you own the intellectual property and can basically do whatever you want with that IP. And that's when we started thinking of using their intellectual property against them in this storyline that we would tell between, the Bored Apes. And at that point, I didn't even know it was Tribe Quokka. At that point, I didn't even know what the animal was going to be. Didn't even really know the storyline or hadn't bought Mutant Mal at that point. But it was kind of that day that I really started getting excited about the possibilities of doing something like this. And I started, just telling the story to people. And I told Boosh first. He loved it. On November 1st, we had me, Chris, and Boosh had a breakfast at McDonald's at 7:30 in the morning. It was a Monday. I made him sign NDAs and told him my story. And Chris is a very successful guy. He's not going to get into anything, that he doesn't think has a high success rate or, high potential for success. And I was waiting for him to start punching holes in it. Like, it won't work for this reason. Or did you think of that? No, I didn't think of that. One of those deals. And I got done doing my spiel. And at the very end of it, I'm waiting for him to come back with some questions or reasons why it wouldn't work. And he basically said, I love it. I think it's an awesome idea. What do we got to do to move this thing forward? And at that point, I was like, all right, well, I convinced Chris, I convinced Boosh, and I just started telling more and more people, like, and every time, like, I'm a guy that tries to punch holes in these things as well. Like, I'm always trying to figure out a reason why this won't work. And I couldn't come up with a reason. And every time I told the story, the people that I was telling it to couldn't come up with a reason. And I was asking them, hey, tell me why this won't work. And every time I'd get the same response. I love the idea. I think it's awesome. What do I got to do next to become involved? So I just kept telling the story and figuring out ways to move it forward. And yeah, here we are, what, 7 months after, 8 months after, and we have an awesome project. We minted out in 56 minutes. The floor price is looking great. We have an awesome roadmap and we're executing on it. And yeah, it's just amazing how far we've come in such little time. And yeah, I didn't know that I was going to be in this position last October, but I'm so happy that we all made the decision together to move forward with it, because I feel like I'm doing something that I was meant to be doing, and everything that I have been doing my entire life, it kind of led up to this moment. So I'm stoked, man. The reason, I guess it was just meant to be, the stars aligned, like I always say. It was something that was meant to be, and I'm glad that I had mentioned it to Boosh. I'm glad that he had invited me over to his home that night. If he hadn't done that, and I say this to him all the time, I go, dude, if you would have never invited me over, I may not have started down this path. We may not be doing this right now. So I owe a debt of gratitude to Batumbo for actually inviting me over his house that night and getting the wheels spinning. So yeah, that's my story.
Great. Well said. And three guys who didn't know each other, about a month ago wouldn't be having a podcast either if it wasn't
crazy.
If it
right?
wasn't for yeah, it's really amazing.
And that was your original question, wasn't it? It was asking me how are you on a podcast with three guys? What made you decide? That was the question you had originally asked, right?
That was my original question, but
yeah, I went off on a tangent. I can answer that question too.
To know that you're gonna, once you start, you're gonna go, and there's and everything that comes from you is going to be gold. So I need to just stay out of your way and let you go. But yeah,
no, I appreciate that. Just to give you a heads up, I went to bed at like 4:00 last night, and I woke up at 9, and I had a cup of coffee. I haven't even eaten yet, and I was just like, I gotta hop on this call and talk to my boys. So to answer your question, there's no way I wasn't getting on this call. The fact that you guys are putting this together and helping to support and promote Tribe Quokka, it was a no-brainer for me. I mean, the fact that you guys have been killing it in the Quokka channel on our Discord, and making it lively and bringing people together and letting everybody know what's for sale, and trying to fight those bots that are doing those low bids and trying to flip real quick. So I believe what you guys are doing is invaluable to what we're trying to accomplish as a community and an NFT project. So there was no way I was saying no to this, and I'll do it again in the future. I mean, I hope you guys do this at least once a week and continue to build your fan base. And yeah, I mean, we could always talk about other things outside of Tribe Quokka as well, right? I mean, this could expand and evolve into a bunch of different things. So I'm excited for you guys, and I'm excited for what it does and how it helps promote Tribe Quokka.
Well, we really appreciate you saying that. And, I tip my hat to D22 and Positive Q for the work that they do in the Zar. You and I have talked, and I was afraid of Discord. I thought that was like a place where you were just going to get ripped off. So I avoided it. And then in one of your status calls, I heard you mention the Quokka. And then I was like, I shot you a text, and I was like, what is that? And you're like, oh man, it's really cool. You can go on there and you can trade your Quokkas and you can negotiate. And I was like, oh, okay, that is something that I'm into. And then I went in there and checked it out. And, from that point on, I was just like, this is awesome. And then I saw what, my two buddies here were up to, and how they were looking out for everyone and promoting other people's NFTs and helping them get sales. And I was like, this is amazing. There's nothing to be afraid of in here, And so then I reached out to them for this idea. And it was just like you said, anytime you say something and you're like, well, that probably can't really work. No, it does. In this community, if you have an idea and you have some passion behind it, there are other people who will help you make that a reality every time. And so yeah, and with your endorsement, who knows where this is going to go? We're just getting started here. So with the Zar, Rumpus had made a comment in the Zar the other day that he's in there way more than people realize, and he just kind of watches and reads. And how often are you in the Zar?
I check it at least once, twice a day, and go and read the thread just to see what the discussion's about, and what Quokkas are being put on the block for negotiation. I think it just adds a whole nother layer to this. It allows you to kind of gamify the experience, not just make it go on OpenSea and try to low bid or just buy Quokkas. And it gives you a chance to meet people that are as interested in the space and our project as well. So yeah, I find it intriguing. It's a whole nother angle that I don't think a lot of other Discords do. Like, I've been in a ton of other Discords, and I don't think there is a channel that is specifically for negotiating and trading and figuring out ways to get the the NFTs that you want with the traits and the furs and everything else that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, so we talked at length, the guys and I, before you jumped on, about the two major events that took place in the community this week, NYC and the Legends. So was there, going to reflecting on your experience at NYC, was there a favorite moment that you had that you can share with us?
Man, there were so many great moments. I got to meet a ton of people that I had been speaking with on Spaces or DMing in Discord, and they're just, I think it wasn't just one specific moment. It was meeting all of our community that I hadn't known in real life, right? Like Dante and Brian, like, you guys are locals. Like, I know you guys in real life. David, I met through the project. He had reached out to me. We went and had lunch one afternoon. It was one of those moments where we got to meet in real life. But there's so many people that I didn't know in real life, so it was awesome just to put a face with the name for so many people that I knew like intimately, but had never gotten to meet in real life. So yeah, I don't think it's one moment. It's just getting to meet the entire community, or a lot of the community that was able to come up to NFT NYC and get to meet them and hang out with them and party with them in real life, which is what I want to do more, right? I want to bring everyone that is on social and Discord and Twitter that I haven't met in real life, and kind of merge those two realities, those two worlds, so that we can start hanging out. Because we have a core community of people that we know in real life, but quickly it's expanding outside of that realm, and there's so many people that I haven't met in real life. So I just want to continue to do that, man. And we're just going to keep on putting out more opportunities and more in real life events to entice people to come hang out and party in real life, and just make it a stronger community of people that know and love each other in real life.
Yo, and I gotta give it to you, Brett. Yeah, I remember that lunch we had, and man, this dude, Dick Doofus, isn't playing games. Like, I was this random dude on Discord, and I reached out and I was like, man, let me take you out to lunch. I wanted to pick his brain before we minted. And you showed up, dude. I didn't know if you're gonna show up, honestly. You made it. It was great.
Yeah, I make a commitment, man. I show up.
Yeah, that's one of Doc's gifts in life, is he has a way of making you feel like you're the most important person when he's talking to you.
I couldn't even
really
believe
does.
that he made it, So yeah, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and so that his answer about NYC is not surprising. With the answer he gave earlier, people is where his heart is at, and so yeah, so meeting everybody, I'm sure really was, what did it for him.
Yeah.
All right, so now the legends. So we started with the airdrop raffle, and then we moved on to the auction, and then you hit us with a bit of a curveball when you announced that there was some, previously unknown utility attached to the legends in the form of the unique one-of-one Joeys. So that was major news. Was that the intention with the legends all along?
No. No, it wasn't.
All right. So then I got to ask the follow-up question. What brought that about? And yeah, take it from there.
I'm always looking to make things interesting and add additional utility to all of our collections. And just complete transparency, it was Father's Day. I was over another Tribe Quokka member's house celebrating the K-Max, and I was on the front porch just hanging out, and I'm thinking about the legends and what's going to be happening with the Joeys or Quokka kids, and I just, it's like anything else. Like, just the idea pops in your head, and you're like, all right, and you're trying to work it out in your head. Like, does that make sense? Does it add too much complexity to the artwork for us to actually be able to pull it off? Because whenever I come up with these ideas, half the times I'll reach out to Broba, John, and be like, yo, I'm thinking about doing this. And, his brain is like, all right, well, in order for us to do what you're, concocting, what do I have to do on the back end from an artistic standpoint? And I'm always, fearful that I'm going to throw too much on his plate or our team of artists. So originally I was like, all right, well, we could just marry two legends together, and there could be all kinds of different combinations, and it would have just gotten too complex. But I still love the idea of being able to offer up the possibility of marrying or parenting a legend and a genesis to get a custom one-of-one Joey, right? Before Father's Day, there was not going to be a custom Joey. But as soon as I thought it, I just started, I always tend to, whenever I have ideas that I want to, or the potential to implement, I'll just record it, right? I always carry around this little recorder. And so I started recording my thoughts and how it would work. And we have like this founders group chat that we're always on. And I just sent the audio recording to all of the other founders. And I said, this is absolutely a phenomenal idea. I thought of it myself. We got to implement this. There's no way we can't do this, right? It's just going to entice people. It just gives people another reason to want to have the legend, because not only are they going to have a custom one-of-one legend, they're going to get a custom one-of-one Joey. It's like, double the bang for your buck, so to speak. So yeah, it was Sunday, and we really didn't have, like, I had reached out to John. I said, yo, can we do this? And we started like hashing out the logistics of how that would work. And it wasn't a ton of work, right? Because, there's only 100 legends. So there'll be 100 traits that we'll have to make in Joey size, basically, so that we could make these Joeys and they're one-of-ones. So it wasn't a ton of extra work. So, he was like, yeah, we could totally pull that off. But it wasn't until like, Tuesday or Wednesday even that I got the green light, like, yeah, let's do this. You know what I mean? So it wasn't until Thursday that we could actually come out and announce saying, hey, here's another reason to have a legend for these reasons. And that's why we didn't announce until, it was a day before what we thought was going to be the end of the auction. So yeah, that was totally shoot from the hip. That was just an idea that I had on Father's Day that I'm glad I did, because I think it just adds a whole nother angle to this thing. And I can't wait to see the legend Joeys that come out as a result. So yeah, it's I'm excited about that one, but I'm glad that it all was able to happen in the time frame that it did.
That's
I-
awesome, Brett. I have a saying that it goes like this: it's blessed are the flexible, because they will not be bent out of shape. And with Web3 and the innovation that's going on, especially in NFTs, I mean, we as a community just got to be ready to switch gears and be able to these ideas they come, because the story isn't written, right? We're writing it in real time. So that's pretty cool. I wanted to clarify about the Quokka Kid. Is it going to be on the collection of the Quokka Kids, or is it going to be on the Legends collection, or is it a new collection?
No, it'll be part of the the Quokka Kids collection.
Nice.
All right. So now we're going to create even more work for my guy Positive Q to come up with a system for evaluating the rarity and ranks of those now.
Now I'm going to have to come up with one of ones.
Yeah.
BQ's appraisal method is
Wow.
it's getting overworked here. So Dick, I had a question that you spent a lot of time going through things with the community and educating everybody, and we all thank you so much. And in the Zar, though, we try and look at things also from an investor perspective, because we always say people get in NFTs for 3 reasons. 1, they like the art. 2, they like the community, and 3, they think of it as an investment. And we try to pay attention to all 3 of those. So Tribe Quokka has an extensive roadmap. I mean, you're years out if you take a look at it. And we try and follow that investment as it goes along the roadmap. So I would like your take on where you think the roadmap and the floor and the investment potential of Quokka is. Like, do you think that it's on track for what you thought it was going to be when you launched? Are you above? Are you a little behind? And where do you think it might be in the future? Like, if you said, man, I really wish this thing would take off, like, what is your thought? Like, give us the alpha on if this is going to really pull through the way you want it to do. Where do you think it would be?
Well, I mean, it's not, nothing is guaranteed in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, there is no reason why what we're doing is going to fail for any other reason than us not executing on what we're setting out to do, right? Everything, like David had just mentioned, right? This is a nascent industry. There's no winners. I mean, you could argue that Yuga Labs is the winner, but you talk about the other blue chips, and none of them, in my opinion, have a plan in place that is going to make them unique, or is going to set them up for long-term success. And I think you have to be unique in this space. And the fact that we are going about this in a completely different way as compared to other projects, I think that there is no reason why we can't be as successful or more successful than the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Now, time will tell. Obviously, they have a ton of things in place, and they have a ton of things that they're planning over the next year or 2 that they are executing on, right? So we are kind of lockstep with them in regards to how we want to, roll out what we want to do, right? And the ultimate goal for us is to tell the story of Tribe Quokka. And I don't know if you guys know this, you probably do, but I'm going to drop some alpha for some people out in the the podcast world that don't know this already. Dante is not only one of the hosts of the ZarCast, he is the writer extraordinaire for the Chronicle of Tribe Quokka. Like, wow. This guy, you don't know how creative this guy is. I mean, we have been working behind the scenes for months now on telling the story, right? And the story has not been told. All we've told is the origin story, right? How the battle begun. But there are so many other twists and turns and storylines to this overall narrative that we're telling, and Dante is at the forefront of how that story is going to be told. So yeah, I don't know if you guys knew that. I want everybody to know that, because Dante is an absolute genius when it comes to making these characters come to life. And I can't wait to tell the story. And we have a lot of things planned in the near future to start telling that story, whether it's the website or the special things that we have planned as part of the Quokka Kids program that's going to be coming out in September, or the first season of the Chronicles of Tribe Quokka and how we're going to be distributing that and socializing in that with the greater NFT space. So yeah.
I can't thank you enough for finally dropping that, Alpha, because that is a very hard secret to keep that D22 and I have been holding on to for weeks now.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I actually think it was like a weight just got lifted from me, but I also appreciate the answer that, you know, where everybody thinks it's going, because I think a lot of times people don't see that, the down the road aspect of it. And that has a lot to do with, you know, the more it gets out there, the more outside interest we get, the more outside purchases we get. And I think that's really not only what's driving the community in the right direction, but also driving the investment in the right direction. So thank you very much for that answer.
A couple of things I want to add there. So Dante, first of all, I remember one of the first conversations we had on the Zar. You know, you explained what you saw in one of the Quokkas you owned. We did like a little fun thing where you would say why you like this Quokka or who does it remind you of, and he was like, yeah, this one reminds me of me. Long story short, he had 4 different Quokkas, and it was the biker one because he's a biker, he's a writer, he is a teacher, and he's a family man. And I was like, this is one interesting dude. You know, you teach, you bike. You right, you know, it's just a very complex, smart human being, and that's awesome that we get to do this ZarCast together. With that being said, the long-term view, man, I wanted to share this before I forget. So in New York, I was talking to Chris Miles, right, and I'm asking him, like, man, you know, you're a successful dude, 30 years in business. I mean, you have a massive, successful company. What made you get into this new project and put your name, you know, not on it, but, you know, people know that he's part of the project. And honestly, that's one of the big reasons I decided to get in. It's like, dudes know how to run, you know, businesses for the long term. And he said something real interesting. He said, I'm doing this for the next generation. And so, I mean, that says it all. Like, you guys are not coming into this project like most NFT founders, where it's kind of like everyone's rushing to try to dig some gold and hit the jackpot. And you guys are looking at the future and saying, I want to build something for the next generation. And I mean, that alone puts Tribe Quokka, you know, at the percent of projects that are looking for a real long-term success story.
I couldn't agree more with that answer. We always knew from the beginning, like I had mentioned in the Zoom call last night, that we want to bring along the next generation, right? The kids that are 9, 10, 11, 12 years old now. A decade from now, I want them to consider Tribe Quokka as pop culture, right? Something that they grew up with, knowing about, like a Marvel or a Disney, right? We're going to tell a story that just resonates with the younger generation, and not only tells a great story, but educates them on this space so that they can take advantage of it, right? This is more than just a digital image of a cartoon character. This is an entirely new digital economy that is going to change the way that people transact and interact with one another. And by educating the younger generation on how this is all going to work, it's going to set them up for success in the future. So we've always had our eye on that prize. This is certainly not something where we want to make it a quick flip and run off, you know, for the exits in a year or 2 years down the road. Like, we are absolutely in this for the long haul, and we want to continue to add value to our community for decades to come. Like, when we had our kickoff meeting back in December, I told everybody, hey, you know, you're going to get an opportunity to purchase a number of Quokkas, but my hope is that you hold at least one Quokka for your entire life, and you know, gift it to one of your heirs when you pass, so that your family stays in our tribe for generations to come. So yeah, man, we've always had this long-term vision of where we want to be, 3, 5, 10 years down the road. And again, it all centers around education, and it all centers around entertainment and telling this story that Dante and I are, crafting as we speak.
Thank you for the kind words about that. It's been really fun. It's been tough keeping it in, but it's been really fun working with Brett on this, because I'll get an idea. Right now we're 3 episodes deep with the writing. It's ready to go. But I'll get an idea for something and I'll shoot him a text, and he's really honest with it, and he'll say, I love it, but go with that. Or he'll say, well, I'm kind of thinking maybe, we should probably take that in this direction instead. And it's always like, it's honest, and it keeps me on track. And it's been a lot of fun. I take great pride in it. It's, Brett's somebody you don't want to let down, because, his heart is always in the right place. So you want to make sure you're living up to that for him. So yeah, it's been awesome. And I cannot wait until, we hit that next phase where everyone starts to see and realize that they're holding major characters in their wallets right now that they thought was just a cool picture, but it's actually, a well-developed character. So it's going to be awesome.
Wow. And I think that's what brings this whole thing to life, right? I think just, just the backstories and breathing life into these characters, so that when they look at the pictures, they're not just seeing a digital image, right? They're seeing like an actual Quokka and a backstory, and there's something to it, right? There's meat behind it. And Dante and I have a great relationship, and we can have those conversations. And it's not so much, I disagree with the timeline, or no, I disagree with like an angle or a path that he's going down, but I have like this long-term, vision of how it's all going to play out in the end. And how we get to that point. If you start going off on a tangent, I'm always like, all right, well, if this character's doing this, how do they end up doing this at this point? It's almost like, I'm the project manager, and I know the ultimate goal and where all these characters are going to be at the end. And Dante's kind of creating these paths for all of them and how they're all intertwined to get to that culmination at the end. So I wouldn't necessarily say I ever squash an idea that Dante has, but I'm always like, well, I love that story, but if he's here, how is he going to be doing this in a future episode? You know what I mean? Like, I'm always thinking about like that long-term end goal. And that's how we kind of make it work, right? I got my idea and the greater picture of how this is all going to flow. And then Dante has this mind. It's beautiful, man, how he comes up with all of these great, storylines of these individual characters and how it all kind of intertwines to get to that ultimate goal. So the way that we work together, it's a match made in heaven as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So cool. Yeah, thank you guys for sharing all that, man. It gives us a little bit of the inside, scoop of what's going on behind the scenes at Tribe Quokka. And man, I don't know about you guys, our listeners, but when I'm invested in a project and I get to hear these stories and I get to understand like the heart behind the people that are working day in and day out for this project, that's when I really get excited. And I feel sure about this investment because of that. So yeah, thank you guys for being, transparent and sharing all these details. When do we officially launch the Quokka cartoon on Netflix series?
It will be in the future.
Okay.
Good answer. Definitely coming.
Yeah.
If Netflix is still around, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Contacts have been made. The contacts have been made with different platforms. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. We call the beans in second episode, right?
That's right. And yeah, there's the cartoon coming, and I'm not going to say anything, until Dr. Dick releases it. But there's so much more, guys. There's so much more. We are like at the tip of the iceberg right now. And, what he has, you tasked me with doing, it's unbelievable. And you're going to be doing backflips. I promise.
Dr. Doofus, I know you're a busy man. Dante, do we have time for the last question still?
Which one are you talking about?
I thought I had a question, so I'm just going to throw it out. Yeah, you got time. The last question, it's a little bit more broad view of the NFT market. And obviously, this is the ZarCast, so we're all about business. We're all about numbers. And I was reading a real interesting article about NFT transactions for 2021. And I found that it's 17 billion in sales for 2021, 17 billion market cap. And they profited 5.4 billion in profit buying and selling NFTs. And then there's also a fun fact about roughly 2 million wallets that engage buying NFTs, and around 5 of them generated $1 million in profits, or at least $1 million. So those are some interesting numbers. My question to you, Dr. Doofus, is, where do you see the market cap of NFTs going, in 5 years from now? And, where do you see the market cap for Tribe Quokka going?
Well, I think 5 years from now, there will be additional regulation in the space, which will absolutely help to wean out all of the rug pulls and the scammers and prosecute them for all of the nasty things that they're doing. People at this point, some of them, if they get into the NFT space and they are burned very early on, they leave and don't come back, right? So we need that regulation in place to make this a more stable space to participate in. And once that happens, I believe a lot more institutional money will start to flow in. Right now, it's all retail investors, right? And it is, like I mentioned before, it's very early on in the evolution of crypto and NFTs, especially. But once that starts to happen, you're going to see a lot more money and people involved in this space, and it's going to evolve, right? I mean, it's starting out. Most people are getting into NFTs with, PFPs or music NFTs, right? These are just the first of many applications in this space. And eventually people are going to start using NFTs and not even know that it is an NFT. It's just going to become so ubiquitous with the space and how people interact and transact with one another that it's going to be seamless and almost like you don't even know the technology behind it, right? And there's so many applications that are going to start coming to market over the next 3 to 5 years. This is just where we're beginning. So the overall market for NFTs, man, it's hard to tell because there's so many use cases that haven't even begun to enter and take market share or build additional market. So yeah, I mean, if I were to put a number on it, geez, within 3 years,
or maybe like maybe 5x, 10x. Like, where do you see this market going? Like, how big of a market is this?
Oh, it's 100 billion within 5 to 7 years. It's absolutely 100 billion market. I mean, crypto went from a couple 100 billion to 2 trillion in the matter of 5-7 years, right? So we're on a similar trajectory, and there's always those companies and those projects that are going to fall by the wayside eventually because they just don't have the use case or they don't have the community. So it'll evolve and there'll be different winners, kind of like during the .com era where, you had a bunch of companies that had a bunch of money invested in them and they ended up imploding after time. And then you started seeing the Facebooks and the Googles and the Amazons, right? So there are a bunch of names out there that we haven't even heard of that are going to be the next big NFT projects, and they might not be profile pictures. They could be anything. It could be an entirely different use case. But yeah, the overall space and Tribe Quokka in general, my goal has always been to have a $100,000 floor price within a year of mint. So that's my goal. I want to see it $100,000 by April 1st of 2023. If we can accomplish that goal, I think we'll be on track. If we don't, it doesn't mean that we're failures. It just means that based on market conditions or how things played out over this upcoming 10 months, just didn't work out exactly how we had planned. But that doesn't mean that the long-term goals and the things that we want to accomplish in the future aren't going to happen. So yeah, we have big goals for this project, man, and we definitely are executing on accomplishing those goals. So sky's the limits, man.
Yeah, if anybody didn't hear that, jump into the Zar today, because you can get them for about $1,500 today. If they're 100,000 a year, you did pretty well. So,
that's a pretty good investment, right?
Yeah. So way to fight inflation,
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
real quick, I want to squeeze in a funny question. You can confirm, or you can deny. The amount. But what was the tab on the rooftop on Wednesday?
How much did that cost?
Yeah, dude, the bar tab, bro. You guys went all out. It's freaking awesome.
You know what? I don't exactly know how much the bar tab was on Tuesday, but let's put it this way: the 2 nights, Tuesday and Wednesday night, were well over the $100,000 mark. So
yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, it was well worth the expense, though, man. It was just an opportunity to bring everybody together and let everybody know that we want to throw monumental bashes in the future. And I hope the people that came had a blast. In fact, I know they did, by the feedback that I'm getting, and we're just going to keep on getting better and better. Hopefully by next year we'll be able to throw $500,000 parties. So that's the goal.
Well, way back pre-mint, you said the money that you guys make from the Genesis Collection mint was going right back in, and there you go. There's your proof right there that you were true to your word.
Man, and it's impressive.
It is.
Yeah,
just
one last thing I want to say is there has not been one founder that has taken a dime out of this project. We have not paid ourselves a single penny, and we don't plan on doing it for the entire year. So just to let you know where our heads are, we're putting it all back into this project because like I always keep saying, we're setting ourselves up for long-term success.
Excellent to hear. Thank you.
Right, that's why it will succeed, because your investment in it is everything. So we can come with full trust and confidence that we're in the right spot here. So thank you for your time this morning. It was huge. We greatly appreciate it, and I'll be talking to you soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely, man. I just want to thank you guys as well, Brian and David and Dante. Thanks for putting this together. Thanks for being such a huge influence on our Discord in the Quokka and putting together this podcast. I mean, these are the things that just add enrichment and make it more exciting for everybody. So I can't tell you how excited I am that you guys are doing this, and anything I can do in the future to help support and promote what you are all doing. Just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to do it, man.
Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you, Doc. We love you, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, love you guys too, man. Can't stop, won't stop. Let's Quokka and go.
Hey, we're setting up a tip jar. We're setting up a tip jar on the Discord for the Quokka for Dr. Dick Doofus. All right. Every time you sell a Quokka, you tip the man. That's a fair deal.
No, you can tip yourself, man. You can tip yourself. Tips are not required.
Optional.
All right, man. Well, thanks, and just congratulations on the success of NYC and of the Legend series. Those are big moments for you. So congrats on that.
I appreciate it, man. Right back at you. You guys have a great day.
All right, guys. Any final words?
No, that was an amazing episode. I can't thank everybody enough. That went long, but anytime you have Dr. Dick on, he once you wind him up and get him going, there isn't a whole lot of stopping there. But he dropped some major alpha across the board about the project. Could not be more excited to listen to it, and I hope everybody does. Thank you again to you two. This has been a fun couple of weeks, and I look forward to doing it again next week.
Awesome, man. Same here. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the Zar.
All right. Thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you for episode 3.